Hello students, good afternoon all of you. Today I will start formal sector credit in India. Okay, so there are two type of credit. One is formal sector credit, another informal sector credit. Okay, so everyone follow your NCERT book, page number 48. Everyone can hear me or not? Okay, thank you. So let's see. We have seen in the above examples that people obtain loans from various sources. Okay, Deeptis, tell me what are the sources we read from where we can get credit? Tell me one sources. Credit source, source of the credit from where we can get the credit. We read various type of sources. Tell me one source. Very good. Obviously personal loan, but this loan from where we can get? Personal loan from where you can get? Large bank. Large bank means Ishanur? Yes, very good. Bank. Cooperative society, Srijan. Yes. Very good, correct. Ishanur, what do you mean by the large bank? Yes, only bank. So credit we can get from bank. Okay, cooperatives, any cooperatives bank or any cooperative organization or money lenders, traders. Okay, so we can get the credit. Now the various type of loans can be conveniently grouped as formal sector loans and informal sector loans. So this credit we can divide into formal sector credit, informal sector credit. Under formal sector credit, here included bank and cooperatives, and under informal sector, money lenders, traders, friends, relatives. These are under the informal sector credits. Okay. Money lenders, traders, friends, relatives. These here bank and cooperatives. Among the former are loans from banks and cooperatives. The Informal lenders include money lenders, traders, employers, relatives and friends, etc. In graph 1, see all of you in your book, one graph is given source of credit for rural household in 2003. Okay, according to 2003, the graph of the sources of credit is given in rural area. Okay, in rural area, maximum of the people, landless laborers, okay, small farmers. So they are, we already knew that one, they are collect the loan or take the loan from the money lenders maximum. So see here, 30% money lenders, 25% commercial bank, 27% cooperative society, and others are there also given. So maximum of the persons, they take loan from the money lenders. Is more credit coming from the formal sector or the informal sector? So what will be the answer? Maximum of the people in rural area, they dependent from which sector? Formal sector. Very good. The Reserve Bank of India supervises the functioning of formal sources of loan. Okay. For instance, we have seen that the banks maintain a minimum cash balance out of the deposit they receive. The RBI monitors the bank in actually maintaining cash balance. Similarly, the RBI says that the bank gives loan not just to profit-making business and traders, but also to small cultivators, small-scale industries, to small borrowers, etc. Periodically, banks have to submit information to the RBI on how much they are lending to whom at what interest rate. So, when you take loan from the bank, this interest rate which determined by the RBI, okay, RBI give the instruction to the commercial bank and commercial bank work under the RBI. RBI means the Central Bank of India, which is the apex body of the bank in India. Okay, and also they give the various type of the information about the loan to the RBI. There is no organization which supervises the credit activities of lenders in informal sector. See, there are for the commercial bank, there are the supervisor. Who is the supervisor for the commercial bank? Shubhajyoti? Who supervises various type of work of the commercial bank? Very good, RBI. Okay, but if we see in the case of the informal sector, there was no any supervisors who supervises about the informal sector credit. So the credit activities of lender in the informal sector, they can lend at whatever interest rate they choose. There is no one to stop them from using unfair means to get their money back. Yes, obviously for the informal sector there will be a risk. Okay, because there is no any supervisor, or there is no any particular interest rate. So money lender, whatever they want, they collect the interest rate on the credit. Okay, and also there is another risk. Okay, because there is no proof to whom you give the loan. So obviously there was a chance for any unfair means. Okay, so compared to the formal lenders, most of the informal lenders charge a much higher interest on loan. Thus, the cost to borrower of informal loans is much higher. Higher cost of borrowing means a larger part of earnings of the borrowers is used to repay the loan. Hence, borrowers have less income left for themselves, as we saw for Shamal in Shonpur. In certain cases, the higher interest rate for borrowing can mean the amount to be repaid is greater than the income of the borrower. Okay, so with interest rate, the whatever amount of the loan, this if we add this one is greater than whatever the person earn in month. Okay, so obviously, so there will be the one problem, how he or she can repay the loan to the money lender. This could lead to increase debt, as we saw for Rama in Shonpur, and debt trap. You also know what do you mean by the debt trap? Okay, anyone? Ohona, tell me what do you mean by the debt trap? No one. What do you mean by debt trap? Anyone? Shubhajyoti? Okay, Shubhajyoti and Diptish are typing. A situation in which repaying the loan become difficult for high loan. Debt trap is a situation which a person can post any more money for posting the loans. Okay, debt, yes, both are correct. Okay, basically debt trap means, in a simple words, when you month by month you can't repay your loan, and your loan amount with interest rate is higher than the principal, and you can't repay your loan, then you fall in a debt trap. Okay, because next year obviously the interest rate will be high. Okay, so this is the debt trap. Also, people who might wish to start an enterprise by borrowing may not do so because of the high cost of borrowing. For these reasons, banks and cooperative societies need to lend more. This would lead to higher income, and many people could then borrow income, and many people could then borrow cheaply for a variety of needs. They could grow crops, do business, set up small scale industries, etc. They could set up new industries or trade in goods. Cheap and affordable credit is crucial for the country's development. Now, formal and informal credit, who gets what? Okay, so everyone understood what do you mean by the informal credit or informal sector loan and formal sector loan? Any question up to this portion? Anyone having any questions or any doubt? Okay, thank you, Shubhajyoti. Others? Okay, so I continue. Graph 2, see in the lower part of your book, one graph also given. Of all the loans taken by urban household in 2003, what percentage was formal and what percentage was informal? See, blue percentage loan from the informal sector and purple from the percentage of the loans from the formal sector. So obviously I already told that one, what the poor people, they have no collateral, okay, they have no that type of the asset or any government job, so they are obviously they are dependent on the informal sector loans, okay. But household with few asset, who have the asset, who can get the loan against their collateral from the bank, they also depend on the formal sector credit. Well-off household, they also depend formal sector credit, and rich household maximum they depend on the formal sector credit. Now graph 2 shows the importance of formal and informal sources of credit for people in urban areas. The people are divided into 4 groups from poor to rich as shown in the figure. You can see that 85% of the loan taken by poor household in the urban areas are from informal sources. Compare this with the rich urban household. What do you find? Only 10% of their loans are from informal sources, while 90% are from formal sources. This case for the rich people, okay. A similar pattern is also found in rural areas. The rich households are availing cheap credit from formal lenders, whereas the poor household have to pay large amount of the borrowing, because the informal sector credit, money lenders or any traders, employers, they charges the high interest rate. Okay, so this type of the people who taken the loan from the informal sector, they fall in the debt trap, okay, and this amount is the huge for them. What does all this suggest? First, the formal sector still meet only about half of the total credit needs of the rural people. The remaining credit needs are met from the informal sources. Most loan from informal lenders carry a very high interest rate and do little to increase the income of the borrowers. Thus, it is necessary that banks and cooperative increase their lending, particularly in the rural areas, so that the dependence on informal sources of credit reduces. If the bank and cooperatives, they provide the more and more credit to the poor people in or rural household, so obviously who are dependent on the informal sources of credit, this amount will be reduced, okay. Now secondly, while formal sector loans need to expand, it is also necessary to everyone receive this loan. At present, it is richer household who receive formal credit, whereas the poor have to depend on informal sources. It is important that the formal credit is distributed more equally so that the poor can benefit from the cheaper loans. So, there is the one important question, how we reduces the informal sources of credit or informal sector of the credit. You can write down these 2 points, okay. Understood, student? Okay, very good. Thank you. Now we learn self-help group, SHG. This one is one sources of credit, okay? And interest rate is cheaper. This group start with first 15 to 20 members. Okay, let's see. In the previous section, we have seen the poor household are still dependent on informal sources of credit. Why is it so? Banks are not present everywhere in rural India. Even when they are present, getting a loan from bank is much more difficult because there is a many rules and regulation. Okay, difficult than taking a loan from informal sources. They want to various type of the documents of the collateral. So obviously these poor people, they can't understand about this type of the rules and regulations. So they think that the from loan from the informal sector is much easier to get. Okay, now even when they are present, getting a loan from bank is much more difficult than taking a loan from informal sources. As we saw, for Megha, bank loans require proper documents and collateral. Absence of collateral is one of the major reasons which prevents the poor from getting bank loans. Informal lenders such as money lenders, on the other hand, know the borrower personally and hence are often willing to give a loan without collateral. The borrowers can, if necessary, approach the moneylenders even without repaying their earlier loans. However, the moneylender charge very high rates of interest, keep no records of the transactions and harass the poor borrowers. Okay, because the poor person, they are also the maximum of them, they are uneducated, they don't know about the whatever actual calculation, and there is a no any authentic document, okay, that what amount they repaid. So there is a various type of the problem. In recent years, people have tried out some newer ways of providing loans to the poor. The idea is to organize rural poor, in particular women, into small self-help groups and pool their savings. A typical SHG has 15 to 20 members, usually belonging to one neighborhood, who meet and save regularly. Saving per member varies from 25 to 100 or more, depending on ability of the people to save. Members can take small loan from the group itself to meet their needs. The group charges interest rate on this loan, but this is still less than what the moneylender charges. After a year or two, if the group is regular in savings, it becomes eligible for availing loan from the bank. So this one type of the they create the self-employment opportunity. This is one society or one group from where there are the 15 to 20 members and who deposit their own money as a savings, and from this savings they can give the loan who need it for their own purpose, or set up a small business, okay, or any other activities, maximum of the economical activities they can give the, or they can provide the loan for the poor people. Okay student, so any question? Does self-help groups need any? No, no, Shubhajyoti. They not need any collateral. They give the loan maximum. That time maximum it was 1 lakh. Whatever according to their savings. Okay, and they provide the loan at a cheap interest rate than the money lenders. Not it is not as equal any formal sector, that means bank, but they also provide the loan at a cheap interest and they are not need any collateral. Okay, okay. So everyone, thank you. I will stop student here.